Good morning, everyone. Just a couple of announcements before we start. The announcement sheet this morning is white with a color photo. Pretty cool. If you weren't handed one of these coming in, you can get one on your way out on a table out there. We have an article from Babs and then a whole backside of other things going on that I won't mention this morning. So check that out. Our young adult group is meeting today after the service at Austin Grind, 4005 West Palmer Lane. If you forget the address, I'll leave you a Post-it note right here. Stress release class is starts 4/22, and that's from noon till 1. There are 4 slots still open. If you're interested in that or interested in more information on it, you can email Donna. Her email address is over here on the right of the announcement flyer. Let's begin our service.
And I want to add my welcoming message to all of you that the song so clearly states. We're glad that you're here. We're glad that our friends on Zoom and our friends on YouTube, and we invite our YouTube folks to subscribe and like us. It doesn't cost anything. It's one of the few things you can subscribe to nowadays that doesn't cost you anything. Remind you of the friendship tablets, the turquoise tablets you see lying in the rows. And for those of you who've been a member here for a long time, if you've moved since you joined St. Andrews, you might put your new address down because we probably still have your old address in our archives. We discovered that as we were going through membership rolls with the session to refresh those every year. So add your address just in case if you want to, so that we might update that in our information. We're glad everybody is here. We hope you will feel the welcome that we wish to extend to any and everyone who comes into our doors, and delighted that so many folks are here, and we'll look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Please join me in our covenant to community. We pledge in the name of all that is sacred to be a sanctuary for all those gathered here. May this be a safe space for every age, gender, class, ability, sexual orientation, race, and belief. May we affirm what we have in common and celebrate our differences. May we speak our truth in love and also listen with respect. May this gathering be an oasis from the storm for all gathered here. May this be a time of healing and joy. Let us gather as a reverent, grateful community.
Please rise as you're able.
Good morning. I want to welcome our young and young at heart up for our puppet show. There are some bags of food in the aisles for our food pantry. If you could help bring those up. Miss Peggy would like to share something.
This morning in our Sunday school class for the first through third graders, we did a flower arrangement in memory of Marian Anderson, who was a black singer who sang in the 1939 at Lincoln Memorial. And we were talking about how different each of the flowers is and how they're beautiful once you put them all together.
Thank you, Peggy.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Happy Sunday, Mr. Monkey. Oh, I think you can take your eclipse glasses off now.
No, I missed the eclipse on Monday, so I'm wearing my glasses now so I can see the replay.
Oh, Mr. Monkey, eclipses aren't like football games. You can't replay them, but you can remember them. Did any of you see the eclipse? Oh, wasn't that something? And Mr. Monkey, I know you missed the eclipse, so I've invited Callista, the comedian cow, to make you feel better.
Oh no, Hortense, Callista's terrible. She only tells puns.
Oh, Mr. Monkey, be nice.
Hello, everyone. I'm Callista, the only comedian cow. Why don't eclipses happen more often? Because they have to plan it. Get it? Plan it? You know, plan it. What is this, an audience or a painting? Just kidding. Love you, Austin. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Callista, you shouldn't tell jokes in a church. It makes Jesus mad.
Young people, is that true?
No.
You think it's okay to be happy in a church? Yeah. I do too.
I love you all, and you all make me so happy.
You know, I went to a restaurant on the moon last week. My review was great food, but no atmosphere. Get it? The moon has no atmosphere. Come on now, this is good stuff.
This is not good stuff. And Reverend Skunky says every time someone laughs in church, an angel burns their tongue on a chicken pot pie.
No, Mr. Monkey, I believe God is love, and God does want us to be happy.
Even in church?
Even in church.
Even in a Presbyterian church?
Yes, even in a Presbyterian church. It's preordained, you know.
Do you know why the sun doesn't go to college? Why? It already has 1,000,000 degrees. Well, time's up. Thank you. You've been a great audience. If you're having a party, remember me. I'm Callista the Comedian Cow, a great comedy, and a glass of milk.
Oh, well, thank you, Callista. You know the eclipse felt spiritual to a lot of people. And the best part of religion is love. Let's sing a song about love.
Shall we?
Oh, yes.
Will y'all help me? Do I have my drumming section here today?
Where's the percussion, people?
The Mr. Monkey drum line. Okay. Y'all have... Uh-oh. That's not good. Close your ears. Can y'all hear that? Can y'all hear that? Okay. Just in case any talent agents are coming by, we want to... I don't know, but I've been told. Love is worth much more than gold. Let love save the world. Let love save the world. I don't know if you are poor. I just know your rights are sure. I don't know about your skin. All I know is we are kin. I don't know. No, I'm saving that part to the last. It is different though. That's a good. She has a good memory. So, but that's the thing about, like, this is for the album. So this is longer. I don't know if you pray like me. I just know we're family. I don't know if you're gay or straight. I just know your rights can't wait. Now I let love save the world. Let love save the world. Very good. Thank you, thank you.
Really quick, before we go to chapel, I just want to remind you all that we have a camp out coming up at the end of this month. If you want to go and you haven't let me know, please do so today or tomorrow. You can also come out on Saturday and just have fun with us at the ranch and not camp if that's not your thing. All right, my young friends, we're going to go with Mr. Steve. We're going to meet him out in the lobby, so let's go to chapel.
The kids are welcome to come and get a flower to take home with them before or after the service.
Rest in rest, holy leisure, airtight time, Sabbath, creation slowing, eyes open, ears hearing, Sabbath, sacred rhythms, guiltless feasting, heaven hugging, Sabbath, nothing doing, nowhere going, work unknowing, Sabbath.
We come to that time in our service where we intentionally pause to celebrate the joys and lift up the concerns of our community and the concerns and joys that we have for our world. So please join me. Gracious and loving presence, life all around us continues to have joyful moments, but it also continues to have a great deal of stressful and very painful moments. May we acknowledge and cherish those joyful moments as they help us to deal with the more stressful ones. When life feels like it has dealt us more than we can handle alone, may we reach out to the loving folks around us for a shoulder to lean on. And when we regain our own equilibrium, may we in turn come to the aid of others. May we overcome the negative practice of judging others by our own standards and ideas of how one should look, act, and be in our world. May we respond to the opportunities to lift our voices along with all those who cry out for justice and a fair life for everyone on our planet. Open our hearts to grow in our understanding of the full spectrum of human sexuality. May we learn to help all people feel welcomed in this space and in our hearts. As we care for each other, may we also care for our planet. May we increase our awareness of ways in which we can be better stewards of our earthly resources. We remember all of those who suffer from illnesses of the body, mind, or spirit. We remember those who struggle to put adequate food on the tables for their loved ones. We remember all those who struggle against unjust laws and systems that threaten their very livelihood and lives. We hope for an end to all of the violence in our world that pits nation against nation at the expense of too many innocent individuals throughout our world. In our own community, we lift up all the families and individuals who depend on our food pantry and Thursday night meal ministry to help them get through hard times. We lift up healing prayers for Jan, Marty, Ron, Rob and Darlene, others who are awaiting test results. We join with families experiencing the death of loved ones. We especially lift up Donna over the death of her brother Joe this past Friday. And we also lift up his wife Marlene and all of their kids and grandkids in our hearts and our thoughts. On a more joyful note, we share in the excitement of Yelka, who will be running her third Boston Marathon tomorrow. We cheer her on along with her wife Lainey, who will be there to support her. We keep in our hearts those with serious illnesses, illnesses that require extensive care, illnesses that are hard to treat, as well as those which we don't know how to treat as yet. May these people experience a sense of peace and comfort as they experience all the issues that are facing their lives. We lift all of these, as well as those thoughts that lie deep within every one of us up in all your many precious names. Amen.
Our scripture reading is from the 12th chapter of Mark. Some Pharisees and Herodians were sent after Jesus to catch him in his speech. The two groups approached Jesus and said, "Teacher, we know you are truthful and unconcerned about the opinion of others. It is evident that you aren't swayed by another's rank, but teach God's way of life sincerely. So, is it lawful to pay tax to the emperor or not? Are we to pay or not to pay?" Knowing their hypocrisy, he said to them, "Why are you trying to trick me? Let me see a coin." When they handed him one, he said to them, "Whose image and inscription do you see here?" "Caesar's," they answered. Then Jesus said, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and give to God what is God's." This reply took them completely by surprise. Ancient words for our present day consideration.
Good job reading, but it sounds like you got something against the Herodians to me. So, now that was good, getting the hypocrisy. In Scripture, clergy, in the Christian Testament, clergy are almost always the bad guys. So, just trying to give you a warning. By the way, during the Sunday school hour at 9:30, we have a rare opportunity to hear from an author who was very important to me. When I graduated from seminary, I had no idea of the privileges that I had. I didn't understand that I had white privilege, male privilege, Christian privilege, heterosexual privilege. And it wasn't that I was a bad person, but I'd just been born standing on other people's throats and I didn't know it. So there was an author at the time, not too many people were writing books on the Bible and homosexuality, but D.L. Day was, Dr. Hovmaniak was, and D.L. Day has agreed to teach this month. And he did a great thing on Dominionism today. But if you're wondering about how the church went crazy, how it can get sane again, this is a great series for you. So you're welcome there or online to visit that. That's kind of the topic of this series. We're looking at things that fell out of Christianity over the centuries. We've looked at a number of things so far. We looked at things like the name, that's the first commandment. Let's look at the slide there. Last week I forgot that there were slides, so I just kind of took off. So if y'all want to yell at me, that's fine if I leave my slides behind. But this is a masterful symbol that's kind of been completely lost, where Moses, representing every human being in the world, sees either a magic bush, in which case I'm not interested, or he sees an ordinary bush from a mystical point of view, that there's something miraculous about life itself, about being itself. And he hears a name, I am, but it's the verb to be. So it could be I am, you are, we are, that kind of thing. In some reckonings of the Ten Commandments, that's the first commandment. So it's a tragic mistake to start off with no other gods before me. Right? You know, come and got our dukes up kind of thing. We don't know who God is, but we're willing to fight for it. So we're going to look at the second commandment today. The problem is they're not numbered. So different denominations number them differently, and they don't realize that. So when people want to impose the Ten Commandments into the public sphere, they don't realize, well, you got to choose which of the flavors. So let's go to the next one. Now this is a kind of disturbing commandment when we first look at it. So we're going to unpack it. I promise you we're going to unpack it, or at least try to. So I chose King James because I thought that sounded more religious. Yes, sir. We got some pagans on the front row. Okay. I'll say it in modern English, though. You shall have no other gods before me. Now remember, you've already seen the prologue, which is a story of rescue. They've been saved from slavery. So the Ten Commandments are not rules for obedience, they're principles of liberation. Right? Liberation theology is right. And then the first commandment is this mystical experience. Some of you had it this week with the eclipse. Right? Nobody can tell you what that is, but it may be the ocean, or looking at the stars, or looking at a baby, or being with somebody when they're dying. Something strikes you. You don't have to have theology at all. You don't have to believe in God, but there's something really sacred, something that triggers reverence. Now, the second thing is, that requires an elevated consciousness when that happens. So you have to realize that when you return to your ordinary consciousness, you can't just use the same phrases. There has to be artful shaping of it. In this case, the story takes place on a mountain. In the mystical literature of the world, that means you're broadening your horizons. This is something from an elevated point of view. You can't live like this all the time. Right? When you're moved, that's a wonderful thing, but you can't live like that all the time. And you have to realize when you come back down to your regular consciousness that you can't just use the same insights. Particularly, you can't reduce the transcendent to your sense images. The second commandment is, do not worship your image of the sacred. That's kind of different than you're probably used to. Let's look at and see if you agree with that. Thou shalt not make any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them, nor serve them, for I am thy God, I'm your God. I'm a jealous God, which can also be translated zealous. If God is jealous, that means there's other gods, right? You know, and if there aren't other gods and God is jealous, then somebody needs counseling. I'm not gonna. Visiting, and this is the problematic one, we'll come back to that. Visiting the iniquity of the parents upon the children until the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. It's almost like awareness itself is speaking, right? Forget theology for a moment. Bad religion is not a victimless crime. When you fall into bad religion, it doesn't just mess up your life, it hurts the people you know. It damages your children, it's abusive. It traumatizes people, and it ripples across time and space. So this is, I think, an important warning. Again, in the story, Moses represents your soul. You're looking to make sense of life. You go up a mountain, it broadens your horizons, you see the fire kind of stuff. And my favorite part of the story, it's one of the best storytelling devices I know of. He comes down from the mountain, he throws a tantrum and breaks the tablets. The storyteller is telling you, don't take this literally, right? You don't know what happened on the mountain, right? You've got kind of some footprints and this kind of stuff, but you're going to have to find this truth in your life. You don't know what happened up on the mountain with Moses. You're going to have to be your own Moses. You're going to have to climb your own mountain. One of my favorite presidential candidates of all time was a socialist. Tells you where I am politically. Who ran for president from prison because he opposed war and they did the Insurrectionist Act. Eugene Debs ran from prison, and he said, I don't want to be your Moses. If I can lead you into the promised land, somebody else can lead you out of it. He wanted the workers of the world to lead themselves, to empower themselves. That sounds to me more like Jesus than what I learned in Sunday school. You can decide what works for you. I love Anne Lamott's comment. You know you've created a God in your own image when your God hates all the same people you do. So the idea of religion is not to get God to do what you want, but to use the symbol God. God is a symbol of this unspeakable state of mind that you sometimes get into. If the symbol doesn't work for you, you don't need it. That's not what's important. The important thing is to be struck with reverence before life in the life process, to say yes to the life process. That's what healthy religion is trying to do. Again, bad religion is not a victimless crime. So I understand the second commandment to be like the windshield wipers of the spiritual life. Don't trust religion. Don't trust clergy. Keep questioning. Keep exploring. Because it's not about your sense impressions. It's not about your beliefs, literal stuff. It's about awareness. It's about interconnectedness. It's about compassion. So we're going to go through, I don't think, am I still doing right here? Let's see. Yeah, I'm still on track. Yell at me if I forget the slides. I personally believe that idolatry is not condemning statues of Buddha for Christians. I believe that's the easy way out, to say don't have other people's religion with you. I think the three greatest idols in America today are people's image of Jesus, people's image of the Bible, and people's image of the church itself. Would that not be the idol? Our image of what the sacred means is where the problem is going to come from. If I have a job next week, we'll look at third commandment. How can Jesus be a problem? Well, let's look at the little parable that's here. Can we look at the next slide? Okay, in this story, the Herodians, which were parodied so well in the reading, are going to try to trap Jesus. And the way they're going to do it is an either-or kind of thing. If Jesus says you do pay the taxes, he's going to lose the support of the people. He's going to seem like he's a sellout. If he says don't pay taxes, they'll go straight to the authorities, and he's doomed. It's a great trap. One of the things about right-wing religion is it's great at mousetraps. Right? Little verbal things that trap you. And the problem is, when you're a mystic and a universalist, the mousetrap's too small. You don't fit in it. So Jesus says, bring me the coin, show me whose image is on it. They say the image of Caesar. And he says, render to Caesar what is Caesar's, render to God what is God. Now, as far as traditional Christianity, it ends there. But in terms of mysticism, and the mystery religions, there's a huge unanswered part of the puzzle. I've never seen this in a commentary, so don't put a lot of weight on this. But doesn't that paradox, whose image is on the coin, leave unanswered whose image is God on? Right? Render to God what is God, to Caesar what is Caesar. Where do you find the image of God? On human beings in the Jewish culture. So Jesus is making a call to revolution. He's saying you do not belong to Caesar. Your money does. The army does. The implements of empire belong to empire. But you belong to compassion, to love, to justice. So you need not to cooperate with the oppression of other people. The word church means called out. That's kind of been lost too. We need to look at that. It's a call to be countercultural. The word Protestant used to mean to protest. We sold out big time, right? We're playing golf with the president now. Jesus is a symbol that stands for the fact that you are the image of God. Everything Jesus is doing, in my opinion, is trying to lead you to your own heart. You don't follow Jesus by worshiping him. It brings nothing to the world for you to worship Jesus. You can stay exactly the same. You can serve the empire and worship Jesus. But you can't do that and be like Jesus. What Jesus represents is a fully blossoming human being. You're going to be different than Jesus. But you're the same word. You're the same image that's there, that's uniquely different. Remember, this whole set of what we call commandments are not really commandments. They're principles of freedom and liberation. So the symbol of Jesus is intended to free you. Have you ever heard the saying from Buddhism where if you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him? I wasn't going to say that. What it means is if you ever see the transcendent in concrete form, stop. Right? The transcendent isn't that, it's everywhere. Right? If you think it's somewhere, that's a problem. If you think the source of everything is manifest for you to see and to turn into an object that's comfortable to hold in your hand, then you're lost. And I've said from day one, if you're following me, you're already lost. Right? I don't have to say that anymore because you figured it out. The man's incompetent. In a few moments, we're going to have communion together. If you're comfortable. You don't have to if you don't feel like it. But what do you think it means really to eat Jesus? What do you think that really means? We've looked at it from different viewpoints, but don't you think that means to take it in, to integrate it, to become it? Again, I think what the symbol of Jesus, if you want to make it an idol, you worship it. If you want to make it an icon, it tells you what it means to be human in the cosmos, in the universe. Second idol, I think, that haunts the church is the Bible. You don't believe in symbols. You perceive through the symbols. You hold the symbols up to your life and you become aware of dynamics that are not easy to see. But have you ever known anybody that became religious and they couldn't see you anymore? Happens a lot. somebody's beliefs are so strong they can't see anything anymore. That kind of religion is cataracts for the soul. So let me show a different understanding here. Have you seen that word? Namaste. It's Buddhist, but I think that's what the symbols of the other are. The symbols of the neighbor, loving everyone, including even your enemy. My soul honors your soul. See, I've realized that I'm the image of God. Now I've got to see that in you, or I'm trapped in my ego. My soul honors your soul. I honor the place in you where the entire universe resides. I honor the light, love, truth, beauty, and peace within you, because it is also within me. In sharing these things, we are united, we are the same, we are one. I ran across a really striking phrase this week, and I couldn't find the author. I found like 30 people that claimed to be the author, but I couldn't find. But it said, your nervous system will prefer a familiar hell to an unfamiliar heaven. Your nervous system will prefer a familiar hell to an unfamiliar heaven. Have you ever been unhappy and you didn't want anybody to shake up the mood? You're in a really good funk, and somebody's trying to make you happy. No, 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 no. Our nervous system sometimes prefers this. So in the story, when the tablets are broken, that's shattering the images. The windshield wipers. It's like realizing that what you're looking for is not belief, you're looking for awareness, for relatedness. Belief does not equal love. You can have all kinds of beliefs and not love anybody. So this is a call to see the person there, even if they're completely different, to realize the image of God is also there in your friends and in your enemies. So the second part of liberation is getting beyond the ego and realizing this is a lot bigger than I am. Let's see, then finally, the third idol. I think I'm still on track. Not there yet, almost there. The third idol is the church. And that's the idea of this gated community, or the chosen people, or the righteous ones, who are somehow mandated to judge other people, although Jesus said, don't judge, don't judge, don't judge, don't judge, don't judge, don't judge, don't judge. The church is not God's favorite people. The church is a group of people who have come together in community to consecrate themselves to the service of the whole. Doesn't matter if it's Christian, but people who live intimately together in covenant, who dedicate their lives to the service of all others. That's what I think is the true church. Have you ever seen those circle of life things? Do you remember like the Lion King? If you saw that and you were watching the thing of the circle of life and you thought, that makes more sense than anything I ever heard in church. And we understand that with animals. We understand that with insects. We don't have any problem saying, you got the egg, you got the caterpillar, you got the larva, caterpillar, butterfly. But for some reason with human beings, we can't do that. We fall in love with the caterpillar and we can't let go. You are part of a larger life. Every person that you meet is a life in transition. We're all becoming something better. We're all not necessarily better, but bigger. and we're all part of the common life. Lots of the symbols of Christianity are actually cosmic. I'm going to show you an image from Easter, which I think is about the life process, the cosmic process. And I wanted you to look at this picture of the empty grave and see if it reminds you of anything that happened this last week. Could we? Okay, that's, in these symbols, this is Jesus goes up in the sky. That's the individual disappearing into the transcendent. Right? Being lifted in the sky means it's you see it everywhere now. Next one, here we go. Does that remind you of anything that happened recently in your life? John, the imagery that he does is very cosmic. And that idea of the stone rolling away and this light coming out of it. It's not about religion, it's about life. But we need some kind of a scaffold to hold that together. It's very hard to be spiritual on our own. It's very hard to be spiritual if we don't have a practice and a discipline and this kind of thing. So, symbols like this are intended to remind us of how we felt when we saw totality, if you were lucky enough to see it. But it's saying if you've loved someone and lost them. It's saying if you yourself feel like you're dissipating. And if it hadn't happened yet, hold on. Traditional Christianity is not very helpful when you're dying. It just fills you with fairy tales. I was with a man who was dying a couple of weeks ago, and he was trying to be Christian about it, but I knew he'd had Buddhist past. I knew that he had meditated. So I asked him about that. And I said, does it feel at all like meditation, what's happening right now? That you're dissolving into whatever it is that you came out of. And this look of peace swept across his face. And then he said, the sweetest sleep of ever. The sweetest sleep of ever. The symbols of religion are not self-contained. They mean nothing as long as they're just symbols. Do they bring you to yourself? Do they help you recognize the other? Do they open you to all of life? I ran across one more picture that I really liked. There we go. There are almost 5,000 gods being worshipped by humanity, but don't worry, only yours is right. That's not what the second commandment says, and if it is, who cares? The greatest idolatry in America today is happening on Sunday mornings in churches. We have to realize that. Bad religion is not a victimless crime. So we have to be better at the religion that calls us to love. Instead of worshiping Jesus, we have to allow that symbol to speak to us from the inside out. And we find what is Christ-like about us, what is loving and kind. When we take up the Bible, we have to end forever the idea that we're supposed to believe in what's written in those pages. We're supposed to hold those images up to our life and see if we recognize patterns. Some of that stuff is crazy, but some of it's really helpful in entering into that cosmic dance and gives us a vocabulary where we can share life together. And then finally, to not see church as something that limits us, but gives us kind of a nest from which to serve the whole and to eventually to dissolve into the whole. I want to close with a reading that kind of came up this morning. Hopefully it wraps it up. If not, you'll get your money back. The jar is over there. Life is change. Life is transition. The river of life has given you everything. And the river of life will take everything from you. When you lose someone you love, remember that they and you belong to the river. When all is said and done, they and you are the river. Life is as beautiful as it is painful, but we must learn to let go of the caterpillar so that the butterfly might be born. Well, that's my understanding of this text. We'll take a moment, as always, for you to think about how you understand it.
This brings us to the time in our service when we celebrate a religion that calls us to love. We celebrate the gifts that we all share as a congregation and as individuals with our world. One of the ways we do this is through our food pantry. Our food pantry takes a large number of volunteers to help it run smoothly. And those volunteers not only come from within this congregation, they come within this neighborhood, they come within the reach of our voice that we have in our community. And this week, we were able to serve 176 households. 26 of those were new households that hadn't been to our food pantry before. And we supplied food for 794 individuals. Besides our food pantry, our Thursday night meal ministry, which provides food, a hot meal, showers, and clothing if needed, to our friends in the area who do not have houses that they reside in. And again, this is one that is supported beyond our walls by our friends in the neighborhood and our friends even beyond our neighborhood. Recently, a group of folks gathered and joined up with another group of folks and headed down into South Austin to help paint a house for an individual who no longer could take care of that for themselves. These are just a few of the many ways in which we try to live out our call to be a loving presence in our community. And we want to celebrate that each and every week to remind us of our call to be just that in our world. So if our ushers would please come forward.
In this last meal that Jesus had with the disciples, with friends, with family, he was leaving all of those folks and all of us here with a gift. He knew what was coming about his arrest and the execution, and he didn't want his followers, his students, to lose hope. He wanted to affirm that love and light and goodness wasn't just located in one body, but in the whole body, in all of us, in all of his students, in all of his followers, in all of us today. So that no matter what's going on in the world, what we see on the news, what we hear about Christian nationalism, whatever we're experiencing in our own lives, whether it's illness that changes our understanding of our bodies and our future, whatever loneliness we feel, all of that is just a moment, and there is a greater reality, there is a greater love, there is more than all of those things combined. And so we don't take this communion meal just as a way to keep up tradition, but to remember the truth of that the love lives within us and is ever present with us, and it's stronger than anything else we might experience. So on that night, Jesus took bread, gathered around a table like we do all the time, and broke that bread and said, "This is my body, this is my life, this is my love that I have given to you. It lives within you and goes with you." And he also took the cup and poured this out. And this life that runs through my veins, this love that lives within me, also lives within you. And it lives within you even when I'm gone, when you can't see me or taste me or touch me. In these elements, in this wine, this grape juice, this bread, we can taste that goodness that lives. Know that everyone is welcome at this table in this meal to remember the goodness that lives in you, that lives among us, that we take out into the world. So please come and be fed. Will the ushers please come forward? Taste and remember the goodness and the love and the light that lives within you. There's also candle lighting in the back. offer this prayer to close our communion. Thank you for this taste of love that reminds us who we are, of the power of love that lives within us. May we offer that love and be bread for the world. Amen.
Please rise as you're able.
Spending the morning with us. I think the second commandment is a reminder that religion isn't an end in itself, but I think it can be very helpful to have friends, to have a time that you get together and meet, kind of things. Symbols can be important as long as we don't take them literally. So I hope the symbol Jesus leads you to your own true self. And if Jesus doesn't work, that you find another symbol that helps you live life from inside out and realize that you are a gift to the world. You are the image of the sacred, and that love will grow to include other people, and you'll begin to recognize whatever it is you consider to be sacred in friends and strangers and enemies even. And then finally, that you'll realize that your real life belongs to that circle of life, and that even if life is sometimes unfair for us personally, that we all bring this tremendous gift to change the world.
And I would remind all the children here that you're welcome to come and see Peggy and get you a flower to take home with you, since you arranged this beautiful arrangement for us in the first place. So each of you is a child of that wonderful spirit of love that we sometimes call God. And that spirit knows when you skin your knee or your heart. That spirit knows when you admire a butterfly or cry in the darkness. So go out into this wonderful creation and tell the whole world that they are loved, just exactly as they are. Go and kiss the hurts of this world. Go and laugh and play in the fields of grace and love. Go in peace. Amen.